Okay. Anyways, I'll upload this and then they'll edit out this, introductory or this little portion.
Great.
All right. So let's start. Hola, my fellow physical therapy and physical therapy assistant students. My name is Gustavo Martinez, and I am the nominating committee chair of the APTA Student Assembly Board of Directors. It is my pleasure to introduce you and interview the candidate for the Director of Student Physical Therapy Assistant Relations for the 2021-2022 Student Assembly Board of Directors. Candidate, please start by introducing yourself.
Hello, my name is Ashka Sivak.
Fantastic. So let's get started with the interview. Ashka, my first question to you. What are some of the hurdles you believe you will face when attempting to instill your passion in both PTA students and PT students?
Thank you, Gustavo. Given that the Student Assembly Board of Directors is mainly comprised of student physical therapists, it may be a challenge to gain a vote of confidence and support behind any insight that I may provide on behalf of myself, as well as any other SPTAs. Not to say that it will be impossible, but definitely a challenge. Although this ratio of SPTAs and SPTs may be a little bit intimidating, I will remind everyone of the central and the recurrent theme that keeps us going and as we pursue this career, that we want to be a part of a profession that really is centered around healing patients and overcoming any adversity that is present in our community. Regardless of our title as PTA or PT, we are all part of an interdisciplinary team, and we are here for one purpose, and that purpose is to serve our patients and to provide valuable care for our patients. So despite these hurdles, I hope that this recurrent theme is able to come across as a motivation for everybody to collaborate and work together.
Thank you for that, Ashka. My next question for you, what has inspired you to step into a leadership role revolving around ensuring that SPTAs are best represented in the Student Assembly?
So I currently hold a position for the PTA class of 2022 president at Essex County College, where I am a second year SPTA student currently. And I not only serve as a liaison between SPTAs in my class and those of the first year students, but as well as a liaison between the students and professionals, as well as our professors. This not only involves collaborating with them, it allows me to collaborate with other SPTAs, SPTs, and accompanying and associated professionals to help increase the awareness and appreciation of the PTA profession. My ability to communicate with a diverse population is just the first step in working towards communicating with other interprofessionals and patients that we will one day be serving. More often than not, I've found and discovered that there's a lack of understanding of what a role of the actual physical therapist assistant is, and really educating others is a part of my duty as a future professional in this field. Honing in on these leadership skills that are inherent in me, stepping into a national position within the APTA will allow me to continue these efforts, as well as manifest them into something greater, to be able to encourage and inspire other current and prospective SPTA students to take a step forward to represent our profession. And to ensure that SPTAs are the best represented in the Student Assembly, we must first be willing to advocate for ourselves and represent ourselves before we can allow and ask others to do that for us. So therefore, it will be my goal to help and inspire and educate the community around us first on this topic to provide the best representation of SPTAs in the profession.
Thank you for that. My next question for you is, why do you feel there's a disconnect between SPTAs and the association, and what's your game plan to tackle that issue?
So first, I want to start by saying that actually I believe that not only is there a disconnect between SPTAs and the association, but also in the field of physical therapy as a whole. I found that not only through my personal experience, as well as what I've heard being shared amongst my cohort, as well as other PTAs that I've had the brilliant opportunity of working with, really there's a disconnect and almost a shame in admitting that we are physical therapist assistant students and future physical therapist assistants because of the term assistant. Through some of my personal clinical affiliations, I've personally felt just gypped of respect or status due to that terminology, that once I have graduated or will take my licensing exam, I will become an assistant. And that really correlates a lot with the disconnect between SPTAs in the association. Students are afraid to voice their opinions and represent this field. And my goal to tackle this issue is to first increase that awareness of what physical therapist assistants actually do, their role in the field of physical therapy, their collaboration with physical therapists and other interprofessionals, as well as welcome other prospective SPTAs with open arms to explore the world of the APTA Association. This APTA Association is going to be a professional home for SPTAs. I want it to be a professional home for SPTAs where they feel comfortable and they can represent themselves without feeling judgment from others, as well as thrive and learn from other SPTAs as well as SPTs. And by increasing and acknowledging these standards will open up a door for a more comforting and welcoming environment for both current and prospective SPTAs.
Ashka, thank you for those responses. And before we wrap up, and so student members can get to know you a little bit better, I want to ask you a fun question. So I'll ask you one other. This question is, if one animal was made the size of an elephant, which would be the scariest and why?
Oh, this is a tough one. I'm going to base this on my personal experience just because I have a deathly fear of snakes. I would say if there was already like a snake can like squeeze the life out of you at the size that it is now, imagine it being gigantic. They slither around, they can really just squeeze the life out of you, eat you up. It's just honestly very stupid to think about, but it's very scary. So I think that would be the scariest if it was the size of an elephant.
I agree with you too. Snakes are not my forte. No, thank you for answering those questions, Ashka, and for coming on this interview. And you're welcome. And fellow students, thank you for joining us on this interview. This is the candidate for the Director of SPTA Relations for the 2021-2022 Student Assembly Board of Directors. All student members are able to cast their votes between October 7th and November 6th on the candidate webpage found on apta.org. Thank you for joining us. Until we meet again. See yous.